I don't know how anybody could be anything other than impressed with how Arne Slot has handled himself and his introduction to the Premier League. His decisions have been spot on. His substitutions have made sense. His ruthless streak I admire. And, you know, he's getting the best out of players. Mohamed Salah looks absolutely sensational. Lucho looks fantastic. It's just great. And Ryan Gravenberch today put on a clinic, a masterclass in midfield. The only downside of today, I guess, was Szoboszlai not shooting, which I'll never understand how he didn't put that ball in the back of the net. But thankfully, it didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Your Liverpool have played 3 games, won 3 games, scored 7 goals, conceded none. That is an almost perfect start to the campaign. It is a perfect start. Slot has been unbelievable, said Alex. Absolutely, bro. He has been amazing and got about it in his own way. And that's what I like about Slot. That's why I was so argumentative over the summer, because I want this guy to succeed. I really like Arne Slot. And I like how he handles himself. Even in his interviews with Sky afterwards, he's not getting carried away with the emotion of it all. He's still looking to put right a couple of things he's seen that we were doing wrong. But overall, just absolutely impeccable from Mr. Arne Slot today and his Liverpool team. I hope you guys had a chance to check out the player ratings video as well. Of course, they're all high scores. Why wouldn't they be? What a first impression for Chiesa, said GM. Absolutely. He must be licking his lips sitting up there looking at that thinking, oh, hello, I've joined the real team here. Do you know what this does do, though? It makes the stuff we heard from Gary Neville really just look poor. I mean, trying to say that United's midfield was leaps above our midfield. I don't know what world he lives in. I understand and appreciate that Neville is a United fan at heart. A man through and through. I get all of that. But come on, we know what we look at. And there was no world that Manchester United's midfield was better than Liverpool's. There was none. Yes, it could have been a competitive game. Of course. We remember games in recent times where we've gone in thinking we're going to win and haven't done it. But for Neville to look the camera straight down and say that United are going to finish above Liverpool, that United's midfield is better than it, it's not even truthful. I refuse to believe that a man who knows the game as well as Gary Neville knows the game actually believes that United have a better midfield or a better setup than us. I just refuse to acknowledge that. So let's see what happens. He's still living in cloud cuckoo land about the whole Ten Hag stuff, about United keeping him on. I think it's madness. I'm with Jamie Carragher on this one. If United fans or Neville can't see the lack of cohesion or a plan under Ten Hag, I don't know what to say to them. Great vibes tonight, said Jason Irish Red. Absolutely, mate. These are the days we live for as Liverpool fans. To be fair to my United supporting mates, I've received a couple of text messages saying congratulations. All of them being very honest about the game, saying men versus boys out there, and I appreciate them, of course, for acknowledging the victory, because it was a comprehensive one. Trent off at the same time as Nunes is a waste of Darwin. Needs Trent's passing to make his runs. Look, the manager's paid to make these decisions, Chris. And of course, we all want Darwin to be successful. But right now, we should all be behind the manager and his decisions because he's got them right. He's saving Trent's legs. I can understand exactly where you're coming from. Trent's through balls would, of course, open up a lot of opportunities for Darwin. But right now, the man's just managing the squad and managing it very, very well, might I say. We made Man United look like the away team at home, said Bobby B. Absolutely. It was a slow start. We didn't really get the ball for the first 3 or 4 minutes. And then we found our way into the game and played with a confidence and a swagger that... And let me say one more thing. We played with a hunger and a desire that just United couldn't live with. And it was beautiful to watch. The pressing was magnificent. I thought our forwards, particularly Mohamed Salah, defended remarkably well. Worked really hard for the team. I heard Arne Slot speaking about the fact that there were a couple of times he thought Lucho needed to track back more. He said Trent was loose with the ball once. But every little incident he remembers and knows what we need to correct. I'm so impressed. Slot is so tactically savvy, it's unreal. Tony, I couldn't have put it any better, mate. It's days when I hear the likes of Arne Slot speaking, Tony, that I remember why I'm sitting here as a fan. Because we all think we know the game. I've played the game. I've been around it my entire life. But when you hear somebody like Arne Slot and Pep Linders before, I remember thinking the same thing, you can see why these guys are in the positions they are. He is so tactically astute, so tuned in. He's just so measured. There's just a lot to like about him. There really is. The Detective, thank you, mate, for your super chat, said, great game today. Good to see Slot being grounded and talking about us getting results consistently. And then the Champions League is back as well. Hopefully we can kick on after the break. Well, we're perfect at the moment, buddy. 3 from 3. We've Nottingham Forest at home coming up after the international break. And then, of course, we start the little matter of the Champions League stage. And I can't wait for that as well. I'm delighted to be finally getting over to a game as well after Christmas. I can't wait getting over for the Lille game, which is brilliant. Matteo said, Klopp has to get credit for this team. It makes me wonder if maybe something was going on behind the scenes. They just stopped playing from after the Man United game in April. Of course, mate, I don't think anybody is not going to give Jurgen credit. We all love Jurgen. And, you know, he left us in a stronger place than when he arrived, like he promised he would. And the business that he did last summer with George Schmadtke, most of us feel most of those signings were really good. The only question that still hangs over the team is the depth at centre-back, perhaps, and certainly the number 6. But all of that aside, what we want as Liverpool fans is to see Liverpool being competitive, to seeing Liverpool winning, and to believe that this group of players can do it. And right now, I would say we're all fairly happy, right? I would say that we can dream for the moment. And why not? Why not? It's hard not to when you go away to Old Trafford and beat them so comprehensively. We were brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Arne Slot is fortunate to inherit the team he has. Credit where it's due, though. Not had to make too many changes. Hopefully can challenge. He's made those small little tweaks, Paul. And do you know what? That press today, and maybe not even the press, maybe I'm oversimplifying it with the press, our determination to win our individual battles and our duels around the pitch was very apparent. United players were going down like flies, hoping the ref was going to bail them out with cheap free kicks, and Anthony Taylor wasn't having it. And I have to commend his performance refereeing today. Nothing that I have to complain about in that game. I thought the yellow cards on both sides were yellow cards. I've no complaints there. The goal that was ruled out, unfortunately, was correctly ruled out, and we said it at the time. So yeah, we don't want the referee to have an impact on these games, and I don't feel he did. I think we just were the better team by a long way, and Arne Slot and the players deserve every credit for that. Harry Klein said, Slot is a mastermind. I love listening to his view on each team's tactics, and I bet Klopp was smiling seeing the fans singing the Slot song. I was very impressed as well, Harry, by his knowledge of how United were going to set up. Even the small details of the differences of their forwards pressing, rather than it being a 9 and a 10 pressing, he was speaking about it being a winger and a number 10 pressing. It's just small little details that I would never think of course, and most of us wouldn't, but he knew, and he knew very well, and he knew how to mastermind the victory, and that is really impressive to watch. Because I won't lie to you, going into this game, I wanted him to teach Ten Hag a lesson, because I don't like Ten Hag's attitude towards the credit that Slot has gotten. I find it very dismissive for a man who talks a lot of shite, quite frankly. I mean, for him to look down the camera and try to convince anyone that they've been the second most successful team after City, it needs context. It needs context. Yes, they've won 2 League Cups, or a League Cup and an FA Cup, but they are nowhere near being a title challenger. Nowhere near it. And more than that, and I'll back Jamie Carragher on this as well, you can see a style of play in 3 games from Arne Slot. What he's about, what this team's supposed to do. I've watched probably 15 to 20 Manchester United games under Ten Hag, and I don't have a clue what the plan is. Haven't got a clue. Don't know how much money he has to continue to piss away before the higher ups at Old Trafford realise that, yes, they have put a background staff in place, they've got sporting directors and that, but he should be let nowhere near the transfer window. Nowhere near it. Because his only option is to go to players he's worked with, or players who's worked at clubs he's worked at before. That's it. And they have absolutely been fleeced in the market for fraud after fraud after fraud. and I'm glad it's not our problem.